Hello guys, and welcome to the course on Adobe Illustrator. I'm very excited to welcome you to this first video of the course. Now in this first lecture, we're going to be learning about navigating the interface of Adobe Illustrator and getting our interface set up so as to start creating interesting designs in subsequent videos. And we're also going to learn how to create new documents, how to import documents and work with other files. Right, so when you open Adobe Illustrator for the first time, this is the interface you see. Okay, see this interface, and from here you can create a new document. From here you can open an existing document, and from here you can select recent files you've worked on. Okay, you can select recent files you've worked on, and for here you can start the project with an existing template. Now this is a letter template, this is a postcard template with those dimensions under, as you can see. Now these dimensions are in points, right? And then we have other templates here. We can even click here to see more templates. Okay, so now what we're going to do is create a new document. Now click on create new, and as you can see, we now have templates to select from. But what we are going to do is go on print. Okay, go on print and select letter. Okay, now mind you, if you want to select other templates, we have many more templates here you can choose from. Okay, depending on what you want to create, but for me, I'm just going to select the print and select letter. Now we have the preset details here. Okay, now the file name can be maybe new. Okay, and then now we have the width here and the height here, and the units of measurement here is points. And there are also many other units of measurements like the pixels, we have the picas, we have the inches, and we have the feet and inches, and many other the unit types here. I'm just going to choose the inches. Okay, and we have what they call artboards. Now I'm just going to choose one, and an artboard is more like a workspace where your work will appear. Okay, and we have the orientation, we have the portrait orientation, and we have the landscape orientation depending on what you want. Okay, and then we have advanced settings, and we're not going to look at advanced settings for now. And after you have everything the way you want it, you just click create. Now this is our new document which Adobe Illustrator has created for us, and as you can see, this is now what we call the artboard. Okay, this is now the artboard, and as you can see, we have only one artboard because we've selected only one artboard. Okay, coming to our right hand side, we have the properties panel. Okay, but if yours is not like this, just come on Windows, come on Workspace, and come on Essentials Classic. When you choose Essentials Classic, your workspace should look like this. If it still doesn't look like this after you choose Essential Classic, just come again to Windows and then Workspace and then reset Essentials Classic. When you click reset Essentials Classic, all you're going to have is something like this. Okay, now on our right hand side, we have what we call the properties panel, and we have the library. Okay, so selecting the properties panel, we're just going to go through the things we can see. Now this properties panel show us the properties of the selected items. Now the selected item in this case is the artboard. Okay, because we don't have any other thing selected, so the artboard is a selected item. And as you can see, we have the unit of measurements as inches. We can also select other units of measurements. Okay, and we have artboard, number of artboard as 1. Okay, and then we can also edit the artboard. Now when we click on edit the artboard, you can see that we now have this look, and then this tool here, which is called the artboard tool, has been selected. Now with this tool, we can increase the size of our artboard, we can reduce it, we can also move our artboard. Okay, depending on what we want. And as you move, or as you rather increase or decrease the size, you will observe a change in the dimensions, right? So you can just do this and have the change in the dimensions. Yeah, so with this tool selected, we can also create new artboards. Okay, we can also create new artboards. We can just come to an empty space like this and draw out the size of our artboard. Okay, now you can see we have what we now call artboard 2, and you can keep creating as much artboards as you want depending on the project you're working on. Okay, remember, each of the artboards will contain a design. Okay, a design, so you have to create the number of artboards depending on the number of designs you intend to create. Now, selecting our select tool here, which is identified by this black arrow. It is a selection tool. Just select it and then come and click on the artboard. Okay, now clicking on this artboard, you see artboard 1. Click on this one, you see artboard 2. Click on this, artboard 3, artboard 4. So now we can basically see the properties of each of the artboards that we've created, right? And when we come here, we can see that we have 4 artboards. Okay, now we have rulers, which we can enable here. When we click enable, you can see the rulers have been enabled, and they work based on the units of measurements which we've selected. We have grids, and we have transparency. Okay, we have other options here. We have document setup, where you can actually set up the document again, and we have presets where you can actually just mix settings to the project, based on the project or based on Adobe Illustrator as a whole. Okay, now that's it for this properties panel for now. What I want us to do is look at some other panels and kind of edit the panel we have here to fit our project, okay, to fit our purpose of the course. Okay, so we have here, which is called the color and the color guides. Okay, we are going to leave them just the way they are. And then we have here, which we call the swatches. Okay, we have brushes here, we have symbols here, then we have the stroke here, we have gradient, we have transparency. Okay, and then we have our appearance. Okay, then we have graphic styles, we have layers, we have many other panels here. We're just going to leave them the way they are, but we're going to come on our layers and just click here and drag it here. Okay, so we are just pulling out our layers panel. Okay, and we're just going to click here to get the remaining back. Now what I want you to do is to come and click on libraries here and drag this out like this, and then just click on this X button or this X icon to eliminate the libraries. Okay, and then just bring your mouse here and drag your layers panel to this point, and then just leave it like this. Just tag it like this. Now you can see we've transferred our layers panel from here to here. So this is one thing you can do with your panels in Adobe Illustrator. You can actually shift them based on what you want to achieve. Okay, for me, I would like my layers to be here so I can see all the layers I have as I work. So this is also something you should do. Okay, yeah. So we are of course going to look at all of these other panels in the in subsequent videos. Okay, but for now we are looking at our tools. Yeah, our tools. Now these are our tools. These are our toolbox, and these are our tools. If you're conversant with other Adobe products like the InDesign or Photoshop, you'll be able to identify some tools here and their similarities, right? So all those other products also have their toolbar or their toolbox at the left hand side like this. Now there are two very important tools I want us to look at right now. This is the quick selection tool and the direct selection tool. So if you click on the quick selection tool, you just come on this rectangle tool and click and drag. I just drag 3 copies, right? And click back the selection tool. Now this tool allows us to select whole objects, then just move them around and resize them, rotate them. Now when we bring our mouse to the edge like this, sorry, I'm zooming in using the mouse wheel or button and the control or command and the alt rather. the Alt key and the mouse wheel key. I'm just rolling the mouse wheel while pressing down Alt to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, and to pan left to right, or to move left to right, I just hold down the Control key and the mouse wheel, and that's on the PC. If you're on the Mac, you'll be holding down the Command key, right? Yeah. So the selection tool enables us to select whole objects and move them. You select whole objects and move them, while the direct selection tool enables us to select what we call anchor points. Now when we click on our object here, you can see 4 points here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the points that are necessary to make up a rectangle, right, or a square shape. Now when we click on the whole object, as you can see, these points are all blue, right? But when you click on the direct selection tool and come and click on one of the points here, you see that this point which you've clicked turns blue while the others kind of remain white, right? So it means this point is now active and it's now selected. It means you can now move it up and down. You can now move it up and down. Okay, yeah, you can move it up and down. Now as you can see, selecting this anchor point gives us also properties by your right hand side, or on the properties panel. Now while selecting this, you can see that it's an anchor point that has been selected, and you can see the transform properties, which is the location on the x-axis and the value on the y-axis. Okay, value on the x-axis and the value on the y-axis, and you can see the appearance of the whole shape. This is the whole shape, and this is the fill color. Now the fill color is the color inside the shape, while the stroke color is the color outside the shape. Now as you can see, the stroke color is black, the fill color is white. Okay, yeah, stroke color is black, fill color is white, and the stroke has a value. Okay, that's the thickness of the stroke, and as you can see, for this object the value is 1. So when you increase it to, let's say, 8, you see that the stroke keeps increasing in size. Okay, and we have what we call the opacity. Opacity is basically how transparent the object is, and we can see that opacity is at 100 right now. And when we click and drag it down, you can see the opacity of the entire shape reduces, and it means the object becomes transparent. Okay, here are effects, but we're going to look at these in further lessons. And we have other options here. We have the align options, which enable us align our objects. Okay, let's just select on the object and just align it like this. Now our object is aligned based on our artboard, our selected artboard. Okay, in relation to our selected artboard. Okay, so this aligns it to the middle of our selected artboard in the y-axis, while this aligns it to the middle of our selected artboard along the x-axis, and this aligns it to the edge here, this to the edge on top, this to the edge below, and this to the right edge. So that's what the align tool does. Okay, now you know what our quick selection tool and our direct selection tools do. We have many other tools here which we're going to look at very much in further lessons. Okay, but just come here and select our object again once more and then drag it out. Now after dragging it out, you can see that here we also have the fill color and the stroke color. Okay, we have the fill color and the stroke color, and you can select here, double click here and choose a color instead of the one you will have here. When you click OK, you can see that the color has been replaced. And also for the stroke color, you just double click and come, and let's see, we want to make this blue. Click OK. Now you can see the stroke color has been replaced. Okay, and with this little icon here, we can swap between the fill color and stroke color. Okay, so let's just click here, and as you can see, the fill color becomes the stroke color, and vice versa as we click the button here. And this button here makes us have no fill or no stroke. Okay, so when we have the stroke selected here and click this button, it turns it to an empty stroke. So also with the fill, when we have the fill here and we click the button, it turns it to an empty fill. Okay, I'm just undoing with Ctrl Z. Okay, and this other tool here shows us the color of the object. Okay, it gives us the color of the object. And this one talks about gradients, which we are also going to look at in further lessons. So we've just had a quick introduction to the tools and the panels and the workspace and setting up our projects. Right now, the next thing to look at is our menu here. We have our menu here. This is the menu bar, and we have the file here where we can create a new document. We can select where we can create a new document from a template. We can open files. Okay, we can open recent files. We can close. We can save as. We can save a copy. We can export. We can use scripts. We can set up our document. We can set up color modes. We can exit. We can print and do a whole lot of things. We are going to look at these and we're going to work with these options very well in further lessons. Now we have the edit, which we have the simple undo and redo. Okay, Ctrl Z for undo. Okay, and then Shift Ctrl Z for redo, or Shift Command Z on the Mac for redo. We have cut, we have copy, we have paste in front, we have paste in back, we have paste in place. Okay, all of these are just kind of self-explanatory. Okay, now of course we are also going to look at these. We are also going to use these options over and over again in subsequent videos. I just want you to look or to get familiar with them just a bit. Okay, we have options here. We are not going to look at this for now. We are going to look at them more in-depthly in further lessons. In fact, we have a whole module just to look at options in this objects menu. And we have type. Okay, now type takes care of our typing and our fonting, right? We're also going to look at this in further lessons. We have the selection, which enables us to select stuff. Okay, now when I select this and come on selection and come on select object or same based on fill color, you can see it's going to select this other one because I've selected. I've asked Adobe Illustrator to select same objects based on the color. So every object that has a similar color with this will be selected. So that's some of the thing. That's one of the things you can do with the select menu, and you can use this to select all objects, and you can deselect, you can reselect, you can inverse select. We are of course going to use these options also in further lessons. We have the effects, which we are going to look at also in further lessons. We have the view, and options on the view menu are options guiding what we look at on our viewport. Right now this is our viewport, and options on our view menu enable us kind of edit what appears on our viewport. Okay, things like rulers, things like zooming in and zooming out, fitting to screen. Okay, things like perspective grids or grids, guides, and so on and so forth. Okay, we are of course going to use these options or some of these options in further lessons. And then we have this other one, which is called the windows, because and which of course we used the other time to set up our interface. Right now these options here help activate other panels that are not presently on our viewport. Okay, so things like let's see the magic wand, for example. Now this is the magic wand panel, which is not important for now. And we have, let's see align panel. Now you can see this is the align panel. You can do all sorts of aligning with this panel, and you can see brushes, and of course we have brushes here. It just pops out. And we have there's a gradient, and you see gradient is out here, and many other panels which our viewports cannot handle for now. Okay, we can also set up our viewport. Okay, for now it's the Essentials Classic. We can reset the panel or the workspace. We can also create new workspace based on the panels we have on our workspace presently. We can manage workspaces. We can choose different presets of workspaces based on what we want to achieve. And finally, I want us to just look at some other concepts, some other simple concepts here in Adobe Illustrator. Okay, now we've looked at zoom, how to zoom in using the mouse wheel. We also have a zoom tool here which you can use to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, use to zoom in and zoom out of our objects. And then we have the pan tool here which you can use to pan like this. Okay, so that's pan around our interface. And well, the pan tool, we also have a shortcut for the pan tool, that's using the spacebar key. So when you hold the spacebar key, you then see that the pan hand just appears, and when you click you can drag while using the spacebar key, so you don't always have to come and select the pan tool here. Okay, and let's select the two of this and right click and click group. Now this is a way of grouping our objects so that we then work with them as a group. So with this we can just select our selection tool, and you can see we are moving the two of them as one because they are in a group. And when we use our quick selection tool, or direct selection tool rather, we can also select individual points, that without having to select other parts of the group. Okay, so we can group, and we can also right click and ungroup. And there is one other thing which you have to know about, which is the isolation mode. Okay, now we have a group, and when we double click on our group, we then see that all of the parts of the design gets grayed out. Okay, now this get grayed out, and we cannot select it. We can select any other parts but just these objects which are in the group. Okay, and this is a way to kind of isolate certain groups so that you work on them individually without having to affect the other parts of the design. Now to get back to, or to get out of this isolate mode, you can just double click on your workspace, or let's say you can just click here on this back one level to get out, and click again to get out. That's it for the isolation mode. And you can also enter isolation mode with one object. Okay, it doesn't have to be a group, it can be one object. So just to note. So for now, this is all you need to know to get started with Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so in our next lesson we should start working with some of the tools here to create something amazing. Okay, to create amazing designs and to get familiar with the whole Adobe Illustrator even better. So see you in the next video. Bye.